Hello and welcome. My name's Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. This is my second in a series of videos about the new Cricut AutoPress. If you want to see what's in the box of the AutoPress, how it works, as well as how to set it up, head to my last video and I'll link to that in the description below. For this video, we're going to be testing out various types of iron-on or HTV, depending on what you want to call it, on a wide variety of surfaces. So I have everything from super thin, like a onesie or a shirt, slightly thicker, maybe a can koozie or a zipper pouch, even thicker, wood that's 3/4 of an inch, and up to the maximum thickness that the AutoPress is said to press to, and that is 2 inches. So I have some 2-inch wood blocks, and I'm going to try to put iron-on on them to spell a word. We're gonna see if I'm successful or not. So when I was sent the Cricut AutoPress, I wanted to test it over a wide range of materials and using different surfaces for my tests. I can't really fit that into one video, so I'm gonna have a series of videos. This one is all about iron-on or HTV, putting it on a wide variety of surfaces, seeing if the AutoPress can go up to that 2-inch stated thickness. I'll have another video on something like sublimation. How does it work with sublimation? I'm gonna have a whole other video where I test the pressure is automatic, so we're gonna test that. We're gonna see if something that says medium or heavy pressure will work with the AutoPress, or if you're not gonna be able to do those projects if you purchase it. So me personally, I feel like with a machine that is as big of an investment as the AutoPress is, I can't really do one video and do it justice. I can't just make a few projects and say, oh yes, it's awesome. I need to make lots and lots of projects using the machine myself over and over again, and then give you my bottom line, what I think about the AutoPress at the end of this series. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the future videos. For now, I have my AutoPress all set up. It's on the table that I'm going to be using it on all the time. So I don't want to move it over here to my video area. I would like to use it in the location where I would probably press things on a regular basis. So I'm going to use it over there. Press all of these with the recommended time and temperature from Cricut, and then see, did it work? Do I have to alter the settings? Do I have to press a second time? Is it not going to work at all? Let's put each of these to the test and find out. Now, every single project I'm going to make, the design is in Cricut Design Space. So I'll link to a canvas in the description below. You can open that up. You'll find all the projects I'm making. I'm making 10 projects for you today. Find all the projects I'm making, remove the ones you don't want to make, then click Make It Yourself and make any of the things that I'm showing. We're also going to layer HTV, so there'll be some layering involved, just all kinds of different things to really put this machine to the test. So let's start with something simple and work our way up. Let's take a quick look, just to refresh your memory, at how the AutoPress works. The AutoPress has a control pod. It plugs into the back of the AutoPress and has a couple of dials, one for temperature, one for time. You just turn those dials to alter the settings. There are a set of presets at the top for quickly choosing commonly used materials. You can set those to whatever you would like, and I have instructions for resetting those in my previous video. Be sure to check that out if you want to use the presets. For now, I'll just set the time and temperature to what I want for my first project and let the AutoPress heat up. The icon above the temperature dial will be red while the AutoPress is heating up, and it will change to green as soon as the press comes to temperature. Then you're ready to press. The AutoPress can take up to 8 minutes to heat up, so be sure to account for that when you are starting to work on your projects. Cricut does recommend a preheat on most items. However, you don't have to flip over to the back and press with the AutoPress. You just press it from the front and you're ready to peel back your carrier sheet. But with Cricut iron-on, you will want to let your project cool before you peel that back. To operate the AutoPress, you just lower the lid and press it down. You can press it down with as few as 2 fingers. It's super easy to press. Once you press the handle down, it will auto-engage and automatically set the pressure. The pressure is not adjustable. It is controlled by the AutoPress itself. Once you press that down, the controller will start to count down the time. Once it reaches 0, the AutoPress automatically pops up. So no more having to worry about popping up the handle. If you've forgotten something, once you get your material inside, you can again use 2 fingers. Just tap up on the handle and the AutoPress will automatically pop open. You can readjust or do whatever you've forgotten. Close the AutoPress back for the recommended time and temperature. As you change from one HTV type to the other, you just use the dial to change the time and temperature settings. Then the AutoPress will heat up or cool down depending on what your new temperature setting is. I'm actually going to use this piece on a reverse canvas. So it's the inside of the canvas. I'm pressing my HTV to it, and then I will add the frame later. For this shirt, I'm doing a layered design. However, both materials I can press at once because they do not overlap. So I just cut the carrier sheets and made sure that the carrier sheet of one is not under the carrier sheet of the other. Then I can press them at the same time. I use the time and the temperature that is the greatest if I'm using two different types of HTV like I am in this case. For things like the zipper pouch, I like to leave the zipper hanging off the side. That way I don't have to worry about it melting, number one, or interfering with the press itself. I do this with any items that have anything of any thickness. When pressing this wine bag, I'm going to do something similar to when I did the zipper pouch, and I'm going to hang off the area that has the tie at the top. That way it won't interfere with the pressing. When layering two types of HTV, like on this wine bag, I press according to the temperature indicated by Cricut, but for about half the time. Then I try to peel the carrier sheet back, add the second layer, make sure both layers are covered up, then press for the full time at the correct temperature that Cricut recommends. For this can koozie, I wanted something a little bit thicker, but not overly thick like the wood pieces that I'm going to do. So this was the perfect middle ground to see how the AutoPress works with thicker objects. I find surfaces like this pot holder can be tough to press because of all the grooves on the surface itself. So I find that once I press it, while it's hot, if I use my scraper to run across it, I can push it down in those grooves. I'm interested to see how the AutoPress handles this one. This faux leather keychain is perfect for a small design. It's actually a sublimation keychain, so it should be able to handle the heat. Pressing wood can be a little tricky. Here I'm using a painted wood surface that's about 3/4 of an inch in thickness. With any wood product, I like to cover it with my Teflon sheet just to make sure that it doesn't damage my heat press surface. Wood itself may not be a very smooth surface. Once you pull it off the AutoPress while the HTV is still hot, you might want to run your scraper over the surface while it cools just to make sure everything gets stuck down and it doesn't lift up. I was super nervous about these 2-inch blocks. The AutoPress says it can press anything up to 2 inches, so we are going to put that to the test. Here I'm using raw wood in block form with HTV in different colors on the top. Then for something like this onesie, you can actually put a small easy press mat on the inside to raise it up. Similarly to the zipper pouch, this helps to raise that middle up and avoid all of the seams that are on the onesie. Here I'm also using printable HTV that I printed on my inkjet printer. I have another video all about it, and I will link to that in the description below. With the printable HTV, I do need a Teflon sheet over the top to protect the material. So now let's see how each of these did. So this is the HTV on our reverse canvas, and we'll just peel this back. Stuck great. Only pressed it once. Everything looks really, really good. And now to complete the canvas, I'm just going to add the frame with some hot glue. There is project number 1 complete with the Cricut AutoPress. The next project is this shirt with 2 different types of HTV. So let's see how we did with applying both of those to the surface. There's one carrier sheet off, and now we'll remove the carrier sheet from the glitter. Everything worked great, and I'm super impressed with how this shirt turned out. The next project is this zipper pouch. The HTV stuck great, and this is glitter HTV, so I was super impressed with how it turned out. Just look at that sparkle and shine. Then we come to that wine bag. Remember, I removed the carrier sheet off the bottom layer in the press, then added this top layer, which is actually patterned HTV from Cricut. Then I pressed both at the same time, removed it, and this wine bag looks amazing. Next up is this can koozie. This is actually a foil HTV, which I was super excited to try in the AutoPress. Everything peeled back great, and it looks amazing. Next up is this keychain, which I put just regular HTV on. It is a faux leather keychain. It does have some thickness, so I was a little bit nervous, but it peeled back great, and I have a new keychain that looks amazing. Okay, here's that pot holder. You know, I was nervous about the texture on the surface. However, AutoPress seems to have done an amazing job. Now you can see it's all stuck perfectly, even though there's stitching all over this pot holder. Now for the big tests, which are wood. So let's start with this painted version. And looks like everything is stuck perfectly. I did run my scraper over it as it cooled a little bit, except for a small area right here in the middle. So the side, this W to this O, So what I'm going to do is heat the AutoPress back up, press this again, and concentrate with my scraper right in this area. So what can happen is that wood can have imperfections in it, and there's probably a low spot right in this area. Now that I know where it's at, let's press this one again. So I pressed this one again, rubbed it really well in this area as it was cooling. So let's see now if everything is stuck. So everything is stuck as it was before, and now I'm able to peel that O off. And the W came off as well. Everything's stuck. Everything looks amazing. So there you have HTV on painted wood. And there you can see just how great this one looks. Perfect for art for your home. These blocks worked out great. So the carrier sheet on all three colors is removing perfectly. So HTV on raw wood that's 2 inches thick, and it worked great. There's a couple of those example blocks up close so you can see just how great these look. So this onesie did need to cool completely before this Teflon sheet can come off. So that was in the instructions on the printable HTV. You can just peel everything back, and this is stuck really well. So this printable HTV does require medium pressure, so I was worried about it, but it's stuck perfectly to this onesie. There you can see just how good this printable HTV looks on the surface. Okay, can I just admit that I was worried about some of these. I really wanted to push the AutoPress to the limits, and I never in a million years thought that these 2-inch wood blocks would work, and they literally worked on the first try. So I'm super impressed with the AutoPress so far, and using HTV or iron-on with it. So I did have to press the painted wood art twice, and I do have to do that with HTV on wood most of the time. So those imperfections in the wood, as you saw, and after I pressed it the second time and concentrated in that area, I could feel just a small dip in the wood in that area. And once I burnished it down really well in that area while it was hot, it actually peeled back fine. So I do think you can definitely do painted wood, raw wood, and all of the surfaces that you saw me do. So I was nervous about the keychain because I thought it's thick, you know, it has the key ring on the side. I was nervous about the printable HTV because it said medium pressure and I wasn't sure how the AutoPress would react to that. But everything looks great. So right now I'm super impressed, and there's no flipping over, pressing from the back, which is a bonus in my mind. Now, where did I get the time and temperature for each of these? So to get the time and temperature, one of two things. If it's a Cricut material, you can check out the Cricut heat guide, and I will link to that below. If it's a non-Cricut material, you'll need to follow the directions from the manufacturer for whatever you're pressing. So like this printable HTV, it's a StarCraft, and I will link to everything I'm using in the description below. So I needed to look on that packaging for the time and temperature and any special instructions. So you would need to do that for each type or kind of HTV or iron-on. Now generally I use Cricut or Caesar, HTV or iron-on, and sometimes purchase from Heat Transfer Warehouse. So those are kind of my three sources for HTV or iron-on products because I know they're good quality. I don't generally veer off from that for my iron-on products. So keep that in mind when maybe you're looking at this video and thinking, what products did she use? I usually stay within those three brands, just so you know. And then I love that I was able to do things like with the zipper, with the wine bag, has the tie on the end. I personally hang those off the edge just to make it a little bit easier on myself and make sure that my heat is not riding too high. So like the onesie, I put the mat on the inside, and you can definitely do that. So the easy press mats that maybe you already have can go on the inside. Now, I only have one of the mats for the AutoPress. You can definitely get 2 or more. That way you can prep your projects off of it and then put them inside. But for me, I put the blank inside, I press it down, pre-press about 5 seconds, pop up the AutoPress manually with a couple fingers, then put my HTV design down into place, make sure everything's centered and located, press the AutoPress back down, and that time let it go for the full time until it pops up and I know it's ready. So I think I've shown that iron-on and HTV with the AutoPress is a success on a huge wide range, 10 different projects of materials. So now, if you have any questions about the AutoPress itself, feel free to drop it down in the comment section, ask away. As I said, I'm going to do several of these videos before I give my final AutoPress review. So this one was on HTV. I'm going to work on my sublimation one next. Let's see how it works with sublimation. Is there any ghosting? Can I do a variety of surfaces? Can I do things like glass and slate and delicate materials? I don't know the answers to those questions yet, but I will have those in a future video. If you have questions like that, however, feel free to ask them in the comment section so I can be sure to work those into future videos so you know how the AutoPress works before you decide to purchase it. Now, the AutoPress is not available for sale until May 2022. I do have one early to run tests and make these videos, so you won't be able to purchase it until May. So I have until May to give this thing all the tests and let you know whether it's worth the money. So I hope that helps. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. Remember, I have more of this kind of stuff coming up. You don't want to miss any of it. Be sure to hit subscribe. So thank y'all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.